Welcome to Outside the Bubble, where we at the Launceston Global Shapers Hub help give you an insight to what else is happening in our community and our world while we've all been staying at home. I'm Adam, and today I have with me Frederico, who currently lives in Hong Kong. So Fred, we've seen the stories coming out of Hong Kong and the current situation. What is life like living on the streets of Hong Kong at the moment?
Okay, so hello everyone, being a resident currently in Hong Kong, I sort of have a different perspective because I just returned to Hong Kong in about 3 years ago. So I would still classify myself as like an outsider. So I'll try to give that perspective a little bit, and also being a Hong Kong-born Chinese, and sort of how I relate to the city right now. And right now in Hong Kong, just I guess to start off with, it's very humid and very hot. So I'm not particularly fond of this weather because I come from Toronto, so I like the dryness. So in terms of what I see Hong Kong right now, and as many of you already know, we were one of the few city, or one of the early city that was impacted by COVID, and also with the political issues that is happening recently, as many of you may know of. So there's two major events that is happening, impacting how Hong Kong, I would see the economy and also the social culture is transforming in its way. First of all, I guess I'll start off with some problems or some issues I see as of the impact, how COVID and the political affects it. A lot of retail stores and food restaurants affected the most. Statistically, you can look at can close down a diner just because of COVID restrictions. And now when you look at it, it creates, and of course, what we call the dead spaces. So when you go on the streets, most of the places are, you will find diners that are still have decorations and brand and logos on the outside, but then you'll find it completely vacant and not open. And then you'll realize, oh, they are actually closed. They're no longer there. Sometimes you'll see signs where say we're not open due to COVID, and then a week later on, you'll see it completely being vacant inside. So there are a lot of this signages and notices that we observe on the street. And right now, I think even the city itself, not having so many cases of COVID reported, compared worldwide wise, we're still seeing that happening around. On the street, so that is what I observed so far in Hong Kong, and how I see that also impacting a lot of back office is people needing to work from home, work remotely, and restrictions, policies changes quite a lot because we're trying to see if it's still safe to going back to the office. We find cases have been zero or low for a few days. People feel more safe and we kind of resume back. It happens kind of on and off, kind of like that. But one of the things that we know of being in Hong Kong is because of SARS. We have been affected by SARS before, and so we don't underestimate the flu itself. So this time around, we were quite well prepared, I would say, as a society. Even though the policies and response from government may be a bit slow, but society-wise, we know about it already. So we already put on a mask every day. We don't even question why. And one of the jokes I get from my sister who lives in New York is they would question why you wear a mask. Because when you do, right, they will say you're sick. That's why you need to make sure you protect yourself, not to affect other people. And the other way around in Hong Kong, our mask, with the way I look at it, is we put it on because we don't want to be infected from the outside. So it's completely flipped, right, in terms of the usage or the intention of how we protect ourselves. So being very cautiously alert in the first place does put Hong Kong, I guess, in, I would say, a relatively safe environment comparatively. I personally would never have expected that COVID would have affected worldwide so greatly. And when you look at one of the most impacted industry being the airlines, right? Like they have to bail out and all that too. So, and I see how Hong Kong is responding as well. One of the interesting thought from that is that a lot of conversation starts happening to go digital, go remote, changing our way how we operate our business, have to be a little more connected with the global, living in its own bubble back in the days, I would say. People are very well proud of their own city, like being a Hong Kongese, right? That's a word. And now that it's partly part of China, right? Policy-wise, changes a lot of the conversations. Now the COVID changes how we look at technology, helping manufacturing, helping retail, helping service industry. And when most of the SMEs or business owners are from the millennial, not the millennial, the Gen X or the baby boomers, right, being the main core, they have no clue how to utilize or leverage these new assets to help shape the next stage of their development, be it in NGOs or policies or business. It lacks a lot of IT talent. And this personally comes from my own, perspective as well, because I come from an IT background, and I would see a lot of conversations that I've talked about maybe 10, 15 years ago in Hong Kong. I still see that being something unknown. It's almost like I'm talking about like alien sign language or something, and I have to explain, and they're like, oh, I see. And then, well, why can't you just talk about something we said is a way to commit doing it? And the doing mindset is so great in Hong Kong that people actually lack the thinking part of it or the planning part of it. We're so fast in just getting it done. You don't even have a second to think about it. And that's part of, I think, COVID and all this situation now in Hong Kong puts everyone on a pause to start thinking a little bit more around why they're doing certain things, what they can get out of it, a little bit more of a longevity, sustainability type of conversation, not necessarily about being environmental, but sustainability as we're thinking a little bit more about longer, about the impact, about the return, not just being financial driven. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Fred. There was so much in that, and it's great to hear both the connections that we have on a day-to-day basis, that we're doing the same things in Tasmania, but potentially also the differences as well. If you want to find out more about the conversation that we had, have a look at the Examiner newspaper where you can read more. And look, if it's the first time you've joined us, it's part of a larger series as we're looking to take and explore around different parts of our community and our globe. So have a look at those videos on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to find out more about us as the Global Shapers Hub, connect with us online, or else you can find out more about the community at globalshapers.org. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.